Hey guys, my name is Nogan and welcome to my Java series. So in today's video, we're going to be focusing on loops right now in Java. We'll first look at the while loop and how it can be used, of course, as a means of trying to iterate through your code, using it to, for example, like run your program based on certain conditions, and how it can be used like normal programming. So if you ever watched a previous video, we just focus on using the switch keyword. Sorry, normally like in programming in general, just like also if you know what's if and else statements, it's also something called the switch. So in that video we just spoke about how to use a switch because the switch statement can be much more better optimizable and performance intensive than this if and else statements. But looking current up there, just check it out because they just focus on using the switch statement now in a means of like implementation. Sorry guys. Okay, so now let's jump to the IDE NetBeans and make a new project. I'll just name this banking. Okay, awesome. So now before we start, let me just try to eventually because we're banking here. Name this Java file into just a test banking entry point class. Okay, awesome. Now after this, I'm gonna just try and remove this for now, because now in the main function here, when I just write the basic program about how we can use, of course, the while statement or the while keyword in Java. Now, before we start to become basic, like before writing code and stuff, the while keyword or while statement eventually is one of the looping operations in programming. There's while, for loop, and also do while loop. So while is similar to a for loop. You'll see, of course, in the next video when we spoke about for loops, how we can try to convert the while loop into a for loop in terms of like a syntax organization. But for now, for today, we're just focusing on the while loop today. Now, in the main function here, I'll declare a few variables. Double. I'll just name this variable balance. Int response. Int year. Sorry, and also use the final keyword, final double int rate. Awesome. Okay, so in Java, there's something called the final keyword. The final is the same as the const, because now the final eventually just makes that your variable doesn't change any of its content based on initialization. Because now, if you, for example, have like something like this in C++, like your const keyword, make sure that now your variable name based on this type of course here, its value won't change during program execution, which means it won't change, which means it's a const variable. If, for example, you initialize your variable to 100 or something, that value will be constant throughout your program, which means it won't change. So the same concept applies also now here by the keyword, as you can see here, of final, because the final keyword it's basically used as a means of trying to make sure that your member has been defined, of course, and declared using the final keyword before your type won't change its information or its data. And also one thing to notice also that because in C++ when you have the const int age example is initialized, age will be in the form of upper caps, which means whenever something is going to be constant fundamentally or one change, it's in the form of a constant. Not likely, but most cases because it makes more sense. Okay, now I'm initialize this to 0.03 for 3%. Okay, before we continue, let me also include here import java utility, the scanner, so you can have like an input and output operations here. Then we can say scan again here, scanner, new scanner, system.in. Awesome. Now after this, we just do this. Okay. Now I'm gonna say system out again. Dot out, then line. Okay. Then I'm gonna say enter initial bank balance. I'm gonna say bank balance. It's equals to the scanner class or object dot, because now we're using the double keyword for balance. We have to include another double here, the next to double function. Now system.out again, because now we need also a few information about like the user's information, meaning we'll also say do you want to see next year's balance? Okay, awesome. System.out line enter 1 for yes, because now we need to sorry, ask the user for more information, meaning that now if enters 1, then you'll see some sort of like simply popping out, giving you much more information about his bank balance. System out again, print or any other number. No, okay, awesome. Yeah. Response, so new scanner dot, okay, so it'll be a type int. Awesome. Now after this we're going to be using now the while keyword. So the while will be used of course now as an iteration where the while loop or the loop will run a few times based on the condition or input of the user. So while the condition here will be the response is equal to 1, fundamentally do something in the body of the while loop. So in the body of the while loop here something's going to happen, meaning balance is initialized to balance again plus balance again, now multiplied with the int rate. Sorry. Then system out, because now we need to see eventually what is the change of his balance or his balance after year. So I'm gonna say print line again. Now here I'll say after, so after year So at I'm going to say again also interest, right? Balance is should balance here. Awesome. Okay. Okay, here, what is happening here? Because now you might not want to initialize. Okay, because now here, okay, the years we initialize, but we can just try to initialize this by default is 0. Okay. Now here, now in the body of the while loop, we can say now here, we'll try to use the increment, which means here again plus 1, which means we want to increment by 1 every time after the loop is iterating, of course, business condition here. Then system out again, line, do you so want to see balance? If so, also same line, at the end scenario. Okay, so then system out again. Now enter 1. Yes. Let me just copy this statement here and paste it here. Okay. Response again. We use again as a means of input. Using new keyboard. Okay, so keyboard doing declare. Okay, it's very declared there. Okay, let's declare now what we have. So it will be again now scanner dot integer. Awesome. Okay, so when we have this now, this but okay. When you have this now, it's basically the while loop eventually just one time based on if the condition is true. Now the response input here from the user, if it's 1 from this line of code here, it will be true. After it's gonna go into the board of the while statement and try to eventually based on the input of this initial bank account also here, this will be displayed as a piece of an operational calculation, meaning balance plus balance multiplied by the interest rate, which means this will give interest rate now plus the balance that initially inputted now, of course, here give us now the balance being stored here. And of course, from that expression, this will be output to the user. What now, of course, the interest rate and the balance given by this expression here. So now that will be the first in terms of like the initial balance of the user. And after this now, this will of course iterate, of course, as a condition. Then this will also be executed again here, asking any the following, meaning that now if you want to see again now the next balance, the end of another year. So basically, based on what seeing here, let's try to clean the boulders and see if there's any syntax errors. Okay, let's run this and see what is the output. Sorry, okay, enter your initial bank balance. So let's say, for example, your bank balance is going to be 500. If it's 500 now, do you want to see next year. If he's saying yes, we're pressing 1, then the folder is going to be important. Okay, let's just make this much more nicer. Let's just stop running this for now, and just make this in the same line of code. So, put this here. Okay, so let's make this much more nicer, and also include now system line again without line. Awesome. Okay, so we have that. So we just repeat this. Is it also now here? I have this, copy this also, and paste it now here. And remove this line of code. Just to make this much more nice and more clean and stuff. Okay. So if you run this one more time again now, okay, let's say again it's 500, then yeah, much more nice. So you want to see next year's bank balance? Let's say yes. So if that is the case, now after like which basically based on the condition here, the number of years is to be 0 at 0.0 interest rate, the balance will be given by this. Now something interesting is happening also here. Now after year is given 0, meaning that now this must be the case. Rema spoke about like sometimes in your program you have like not syntax errors but logical errors. Now if you go back to the code again here, you just close this and come back here, because now here, because I initialize of course the variables here saying 0, and fundamental that mustn't be the case, because this needs to be displayed in terms of like an increment. So now if not 0 can be 1, okay, balance and input by the user basically here, response also by the user, this one is given errors, interest been initialized, but now here, well, okay, so the year needs to be 1, because now year can't be 0 because 1 year needs to be there by default. Okay, now if you run this one more time, sorry, let's say in 500 again. Okay, let's say 1 again. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna say 1 again to see the next balance. Okay, after year 2, of course, so interesting. Let me say 1 again. Okay, I got now more interest again. Let's say 1 more year. 1 again. Okay, so basically you can see after 4 years, based on the same interest now, the interest that I have is increased, of course, it is still number. If I even say 1 more again, see like how much I get, of course, it's still increasing, which means the number of years based on the number of interest rate that I have will increase, as you can see, of course, because now from the first year I got 15%, 15 rand extra, of course, based on it. Then there's an increment, of course, based on number, because now the reason why also you have to like include 1 year is because it makes sense, logical sense, because now based on the statement here, year the years equals to year plus 1, meaning that now each year there must be increment of the number of years based on your interest that you have, of course, here, and also now the bank balance you have before. So based on that, that's why now, as you can see, on the upper statement here, each year will have an increment of a constant interest rate, sorry, and also an increment of the years from the first, second, third, fourth, until, so basically each year this is a constant interest rate, but also now an increment in your bank balance. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, comment down below, and like the video also, and thank you for watching.